We've been fans since day one. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays, and proud fans since 1977.
Welcome to beautiful Target Field in Minneapolis, and as is the case anytime Blue Jays come to town, lots of Blue Jay fans. They make their way down from Regina, Swift Current, Brandon, Thunder Bay, and Sioux Lookout. Lots of fans here in this ballpark. More Blue Jay fans than Twins fans, I believe, and what a night it is. 28 degrees. It's baseball weather, Pat.
It's starting to feel like baseball weather. The players got to come out early today, take some batting practice. They hit on the field. They ran around in short sleeves for the first time. And I believe I heard this today. This is the first game that the Blue Jays have played where the weather is over 60 degrees Fahrenheit. The first one.
Finally feels like baseball weather for sure. Well, the Blue Jays went 2-4 on their most recent homestand. They pounded out some more home runs. Let's take a look at the lineup for John Gibbons. They're hitting just .207 on the road this year, but their record is 15-12. Kevin Pillar had a great homestand. He's got a 4-game hit streak with 6 extra base hits, including 3 home runs in his last 2 games, and then down in the 7th spot. Kendrys Morales, you look at his career numbers against Lance Lynn, he's 3 for 3, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. That all came in 1 game when he was playing for Kansas City, May 22nd, 2015. So he has had success against the Twins starter.
You gotta feel that the Blue Jays are excited to be here because since this ballpark has opened up, they have had a lot of success offensively in this park, banging the ball out of the ballpark with regularity. Now I know it's a different type of team this year. Okay, it's not as powerful as it was in the past. Here are the numbers since 2010. Look at the home runs. They've out-homered Minnesota 46-21 in Minnesota's home ballpark. Pretty impressive stuff for the offense for the Blue Jays.
Most of the damage was done by 3 guys that aren't here. Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, and Josh Donaldson. They just absolutely made this their own private playground.
Tonight they get Lance Lynn. There's the big right-hander getting ready to start for Minnesota. He started 33 games last season for the Cardinals. That's tied for the most in the National League. He won 71 games over the last 5 seasons, became a free agent. Nobody wanted him. Nobody signed him. He signed late with the Minnesota Twins. They plugged him right into their starting rotation. He's making his 5th start of the season. He has faced Toronto 2 times previously in his career, 1 start and 1 relief appearance. Former first-round draft pick of the Cardinals, and they let him go after he became a free agent. The Twins said thank you very much. He signed late, like I said, in March, so he really hasn't had time to get that arm in shape. There's been some signs of that coming around lately. We'll have to see. In his last start, he got bombed by the Yankees. Home runs by Didi Gregorius and Tyler Austin lasted just 3 2/3 innings. We'll keep an eye on his left ankle. He rolled that in that game in the 4th inning and then came out after 3 2/3 innings.
Now let's take a look at the defense, and they have had their problems lately. 15 errors for the season. Rosario, Kepler, and Grossman. No Byron Buxton at center. He's on the DL.
Successful transition, though, for this guy right here. He was a 3-time Gold Glove winner at catcher. He's gone over to first base, and at least 125 games last year at first base. Just 2 errors. He and Justin Smoke had the fewest errors for first baseman last season. He has really come into his own, I think, as a first baseman. I don't even remember him as a catcher. I see him now as a first baseman.
Wow, he had a terrific run. Certainly played Hall of Fame caliber when he was a catcher. No question about it. 3-time batting champ. So we are set for action. You can see this is a little bit more like baseball weather, as we mentioned, and all the Blue Jays out the top step, anxious to enjoy some good weather. They will go from here to Cleveland, play a doubleheader on Thursday, and then down to Tampa Bay. So we're waiting on the pregame ceremonies to clear the field, and now we're set. Curtis Granderson in the box. Curtis hitting .317 for the season. Lynn is set. Here's the first pitch of the game. It is outside for ball 1, and we are underway.
And like he does at every at bat, he takes that first pitch. His pitcher should be knowing that by now and laying one in there to him.
Well, they don't want to be the guy that gives up that first home run on the first pitch he swings at. 1-1 count. You're going to get a lot of fastballs from Lynn. That's been his bread and butter. He comes right at you, and that's why I think he's off to a slow start. He hasn't had enough work to really get his command.
He doesn't have the arm strength where he was last season. Like I said, you see signs of it now and then. Pretty good slider and a good spot right there, up and in. When you mention Lance Lynn and you mention fastballs, if you take a look at his scouting report, he's going to use that 80% of the time. Curveball, cutter, changeup, he'll mix those in, but he's going to be in attack mode all night long. That was his MO when he was with the Cardinals. Attack that strike zone. He did it to Curtis Granderson, first batter.
One away for Teoscar Hernandez, who will face Lynn for the first time in his career. Goes after the first pitch. Escobar at third across the diamond in plenty of time. 2 up, 2 down.
When you sign late like Lynn did, you can tell everybody, well, I was working out and I was throwing some bullpens and off the mound, but it's not like a game situation. That's what spring training is for. You need spring training the whole 6 weeks to get pitchers game ready.
Jake Arrieta signed on the same day, March 12th, that Lynn signed. Arrieta's off to a great start with the Phillies. He's 3-0 in 4 starts with a 182 earned run average. Lynn, as we mentioned, 0-2 with a 7.71 ERA. Preston Smoke takes one outside. Smoke, 2, facing Lynn for the first time.
Smokey getting those numbers back up after maybe about 3 or 4 games where he really struggled. Starting to hit the ball with a little bit more authority.
And a 4-hit game on Friday against the Rangers. His first 4-for-4 game of his career. 3 singles and a double. He drove in a run.
And there's the shift that teams have been playing against Smoke.
He hits right into this shift. Going to be a quick inning for Lance Lynn. Takes him just 8 pitches to retire the side in order. That's a little bit more like what Lynn was with the Cardinals. Manager of the year. They had a terrific season last year. And they got off to a decent start, but they have fallen on hard times. 9-14 as we speak. Take a look at their lineup. Dozier, Mauer, Rosario, and then Eduardo Escobar. He's got a 6-game hit streak. He is playing third base tonight. He's also played at shortstop, and he's hit .435 during those 6 games. And Robbie Grossman, he's going to get a lot of playing time until Byron Buxton comes back, and he's making the most of it. 6 for his last 13 over his last 4 games with pair doubles and a home run.
A couple of regulars missing in that lineup, Buxton and Sano, but they're still pretty dangerous. So Aaron Sanchez has to continue what he has been doing lately. This is his 6th start of the season. He is 1-2 with a very good ERA of 3.69 last time out, 8 strikeouts. First time he did that since the end of September last season.
Lined into the shift, Gurriel is there to take a hit away from Brian Dozier, the leadoff man. Gurriel at second base. Everybody's smiling about that. 1 pitch, 1 out. Take a look at the defense. Granderson's in left, Hernandez in right, Pilar, of course, in center. Up the middle, it's Diaz and Gurriel and Old Smoky constant over at first base.
Yeah, same as Maurer, 125 games at first base last year. He just made 2 errors. 2 big picks in yesterday's ball game, saving some errors from some of those infielders. He's been involved in 24 double plays this year, the most in the American League.
Here is Joe Mauer, and Sanchez delivers the first pitch strike. Talk about a terrific player, and he has been a good player for a long time.
3-time Gold Glove catcher, 6-time All-Star. He was an MVP.
Right back to Sanchez.
And he can still swing it.
2 up, 2 down.
Good play by Aaron to get himself in good position to catch that ball. He can laugh about it now, but that ball comes back quickly.
Well, he might not be as agile as Bartolo Colon, but he makes a nice play right here.
That is a great catch on a ball that looked like it was going to hit him in the chest.
That's a comebacker at 105 miles an hour, and pitchers, they really got to be on their toes. He finished up square to the hitter and was able to make the play. Eddie Rosario, the left fielder, he's 2 for 2 against Aaron Sanchez for his career. He's scuffling a bit at 230.
I love what I've seen from Sanchez lately. In the opening, we were talking about him, how he is under control. He might not be throwing as hard as he can, but he's under control.
Fly ball to left. Granderson has a beat on it. Aaron Sanchez breezes through at the bottom of the first. He needs just 6 pitches to retire the side in order. Those starters off to a good night.
It's been the furthest thing from for Randall Grichuk in this, his first season with the Blue Jays. You may remember the wrist and oblique issues in the spring, and then the struggles at the plate in the opening month of the season. And then yesterday, just as it appeared offensively, he might be getting going, Grichuk early in the game on this attempt injured his right knee. It was sore, he played through it. Afterwards, he went in, they diagnosed it as a grade 1 sprain. An MRI showed a sprain to the PCL in the right knee. So John Gibbons will be without Grichuk for about 3 weeks. The Blue Jays decided to call up Gifton Gope, not Devin Travis. Gibbons saying they want Travis to get more game action down in the minor leagues before getting the call back up. Guys?
Thank you very much, Arash, and that makes a lot of sense. And half the reason you want to send Travis down and get him some at-bats. And if he was going to be up here, they would be inconsistent as they were earlier.
They're still going to do the 2-on, 1-off down there, but you're right. He needs to get some ABs and fast, get that time back. Remember, May was a big month for him last season.
And it was Solarte, the cleanup hitter, takes the ball down and away. Solarte and Russell Martin, they have the most at-bats against Lance Lynn. They have both had 14 at-bats against the Twins righty. As we said, he's going to throw a lot of fastballs, and he is very good at locating. He had some great years with the Cardinals. And he turned down a qualifying offer last year, hopeful of getting a multi-year contract, but he ends up signing for 1 year and $12 million with the Twins.
He's got that heavy sink to his fastball, and he also can elevate it like he did right there. And it really pitches off that fastball. Blue Jays haven't seen that much from Lance Lynn, but again, he was a first-round draft pick of the Cardinals. And the Cardinals usually don't make mistakes like that where they let #1 picks go.
Sharply hit into right field off the bat of Solarte. First hit of the ball game. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball.
1-2. It looked like he was trying to go down and in, and look where that ball ends up. Right down the middle. It got some speed on it at 94, but I was watching Lynn after that base hit, and he just shook his head saying, I still miss my spot.
Here is Kevin Pillar riding a 4-game hit streak. During those 4 games, he is 6 for 13 with 6 extra base hits. Average at .310.
That's what you like about Pillar. His timing is right there. You watch him hit. Got that little bit of a leg kick back, and he's hitting everything hard.
There's another ball well hit. That's going to get down. Gets past the outfielders all the way to the wall. Solarte is going to be stopped at third as Kevin Pillar gets another extra base hit. His first time up. That's his 10th double of the season.
It's also his 8th consecutive hit for extra bases. There's the 5-game hit streak, what he has done there. Now that's 4 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs. Watch how he stays on this fastball. Again, Lynn misses his spot. Drops the arm a little bit, and the ball leaks out over the plate. And Pillar, who has been on everything, smokes that ball up the alley in right center.
Well, that had a great sound as he barreled it up and drove it to the opposite power alley. So Russell Martin, we mentioned he's got a lot of success against Lynn. He's 7 for 14 against the righty. Takes a breaking ball down and away. Russell on the homestand, 3 for 14. The Blue Jays as a team really didn't have a very good homestand.
Yeah, and this is a good time right now for Martin to work on situational hitting. Get him over, get him in. Nobody out, second and third. I think it's got to be important for Solarte to read the ball up to the right side of the infield. Joe Mauer, the first baseman, is in on the grass. Martin's going to be trying to get the ball to the right side of the infield to get the runner in from third and the runner over to third base. But there's Mauer staying in. You got to read it, make sure it gets by him.
So fouls it into the seats. It's really important what you pointed out because you got Kenvis Morales on deck. The switch hitter has gone 3 for 3 against Lynn with a couple of home runs.
As a hitter right now, you're not trying to massage the ball to the right side of the infield. You're trying to hit the ball up the middle or the other way with the thought of getting a base hit, not moving the runners, getting a base hit. So Lynn comes inside to counteract that.
Hear that fastball very well up and into Martin. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Blue Jays threatening to score first here at Target Field. It's Garner does a nice job of that breaking ball in the dirt. But you can see Lynn just really searching for his command. And when a pitcher gets a slow start, like I say, he didn't sign till March 13th. He actually pitched in a game the next day, March 13th. He signed March 12th and pitched on the 13th. He only made 2 appearances in the spring.
Yeah, and it was against minor leaguers, and it was just, hey, I'm going to pound the strike zone, use my fastball, and get my arm in game shape. And I think it's taken this whole month for him to find his A game.
breaking ball, and Martin strikes out. A breaking ball on the inside part of the plate. Second strikeout of the ball game for Lynn.
Well, he had a base open to work with, and so he wasn't going to give Russell anything to hit in terms of a fastball. He's going to take a little something off here, spin the ball, and come up with a strikeout. If he misses and ends up walking him, hey, no big deal. You got first base, and you got a good chance of a double play.
So here's Kendrys Morales. We mentioned his great game back in 2015 while playing with the Royals. Got a couple of home runs and 5 RBIs against Lynn. He'd like to get something going himself, batting just 170 for the season.
Steady.
Morales 0 for 13 on the homestand.
Steady diet of breaking balls, a lot of them. That's what he's been getting.
Another breaking ball, and he knows he's going to get him. He's just got to make sure that there's strikes when he goes after him, but he hasn't seen too many good fastballs to hit.
No. Would you?
No.
I wouldn't, especially with runners in scoring position like the Blue Jays have here. Lynn's not going to get into him.
They got a base open as well, and you could bet they're going to be pitching around the plate as opposed to over the plate. Inside. 3-0 to Morales. Gurriel's on deck. They're going to put him on. Yeah, they weren't going to throw another pitch to him, so they'll walk him. Molitor gave the 4-ball sign, and they'll send Morales to first base. That'll bring up Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Paul Molitor knows that 3-0 that he was going to have the green light, and he didn't want a 3-run lead or fall behind by 3 runs right away, so he elects to just put him on and said, let's pitch to the kid.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. batting .246 for 25. He has a homer and 4 RBIs. He has a nice aggressive approach and fouls it into the seats.
Usually when young kids come up and you watch them hit, say, okay, there's a spot I can go to get an out. Maybe a fastball up, maybe a breaking ball away, maybe a changeup, but he is such an advanced hitter for his age and for his experience that right now when you watch him, he's still learning this league, and he's making adjustments on the fly.
Little squiver up the third base line. That's a fair ball. He picks it up and doesn't do anything with it. That might be the shortest RBI single I've ever seen.
He had a couple of options, I think, Mitch Garver, the catcher. The runners had to run because the bases are loaded. If he saw that that ball was fair, he could have picked it up and tagged the runner who went right by him.
Yeah, you can't let that runner pass you.
No.
You're right there in the base path, but that's the kind of problems Minnesota has had lately. They've lost 9 of their last 10, and they have not played sound baseball at all.
They have to run right there. If he picks it up and tags the runner out, bases loaded, 2 outs. It's going to go as an infield hit and an RBI for Gurriel. Again, Solarte had to go in case it was fair. If he stays and it stays fair, he had to go, so just pick it up, tag him out.
Yeah, that's not a good play at all. And the Blue Jays take advantage of it. All you got to do as a catcher is pick it up, tag the runner, and throw it to third. You might get a double play. And let the umpires determine if it's fair or foul. But it never gets off that foul line. And the umpire at home plate signals fair, and the Blue Jays have the lead. Lemus Diaz, a ball and a strike on the Blue Jays shortstop. Still just 1 out. Bases remain loaded.
You know, you mentioned the Twins have been kicking the ball around. It's just they've done some interesting things defensively. They really haven't made errors. They only had 15 errors this year. They haven't turned the double play. They've only turned 16 this year. And in yesterday's ball game, there were 6 instances where they could have. As people were saying, they weren't really tailor-made double plays, but they had chances to turn double plays. They didn't do it 6 times. And it ended up costing them runs.
I don't know if Paul Molitor would have used the word interesting defense.
No, I don't think Molly would either.
No, but he's a guy that really takes a lot of pride in fundamentals. Wants his team to be sound. And they really emphasize it all throughout spring training and during the regular season. 2-2 now to Aledmus Diaz, the number 9 hitter. And Garver can hang on to the foul tip.
Diaz has been seeing a lot of breaking balls himself until he's in a fastball count. So now at count 2-2, you know he's going to get more breaking balls here to try to get a strikeout.
A run in on 3 hits after Lynn retired the side in order in the first on just 8 pitches. He strikes out Diaz. 2 away.
Another breaking ball a couple weeks ago. He was doing a good job of going the other way. This time that breaking ball opens up that front side just a little bit too quick. It collapses that backside and ends up being a strikeout.
Lynn knows Diaz very well. They were teammates in St. Louis and knows he likes that fastball. So now back to the top of the order. Curtis Granderson was called out on a very questionable cutter on the inside part of the plate his first time up. Lance Lynn's picked up on the fact he won't swing at that first pitch.
It's a free strike.
Outside. The Blue Jays need to cash in here with Granderson at the plate, bases loaded. Pilar hit a ringing double. He's at third. Morales was given an intentional walk, and Gurriel had that little squibber base hit up the third base line.
Well, if he hits a ground ball to the shortstop, it might be able to score 2 runs. There is nobody standing there. There it is. The only guy closest to that would be the umpire. Look at the hole that he has to shoot for.
Big hole between Adrianza and the third baseman Escobar.
If he tries that fastball away, just go with it. Just punch the ball the other way.
Well, he tried, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He got a pitch out over the plate, and he was thinking about it. 2-2 now to Granderson. Curtis with 3 homers and 12 RBIs, and now after that last swing, the shortstop's going to move back to a more normal position.
Yeah. 2 strikes, you cut down your swing, you try to use the whole field. Granderson will choke up. We've seen him do that a couple of times this year. There he is choking up. Now you just got to survive.
"27 pitches this inning. And they can't decide on the next one. So Lynn steps off again. Garver's making his 8th start behind home plate. Jason Castro is the number 1 catcher for the Twins. Outside. So the runners will be off on the pitch. There are 2 outs. A run in. Pilar from third, Morales from second, and Gurriel from first. They'll get a running start. There they go. Outside, ball 4. Lynn didn't agree with the call. He turned his back on the home plate umpire, walked toward first base, but Granderson will be credited with an RBI, and the Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead.
Trying to paint that outside corner. It came up empty. thought he was out of the inning.
Garvin Alston, the first-year pitching coach, going to the mound to have a little chat with Lynn, try to get him through this. Remember, he has thrown a lot of pitches this inning after an 8-pitch first inning.
Yeah, bring him out here just to give him a little bit of a blow, and it's just been a familiar theme so far for the Minnesota Twins. On April 18th, they were 8-5. They were pitching, they were hitting, they were doing it all. Since then, the pitching staff has gotten rocked. An ERA of 8.5, and the opponent's hitting .323. And it's not just the starters, it's the relievers and the starters have really put those numbers on the board.
Yeah, it's been an unfortunate stretch of games for the Twins and Paul Molitor. The pitching coach, Garvin Alston, had a couple of words to say to the home plate umpire. Maybe, hey, you know what, I kind of like your strike zone to be a little bit wider maybe. So again, the bases remain loaded, and Teoscar Hernandez, who's been red hot, hit his 4th home run of the season yesterday afternoon at Rogers Center.
Says teams have been pitching me away, so I've been going the other way. I asked him today, I said, how important was that hit you got against Andrew Miller in your first game? When he played in Cleveland, he said it gave me a lot of confidence. That double that he had down the left field line against one of the best relievers in all of baseball.
Pitches away.
Isn't it amazing? You just get one hit and how it can just release all the tension and give you a chance to be successful. He hasn't stopped hitting since.
No, he sure hasn't. He's done a terrific job. He grounded out to third base in the first inning. Fly ball to center. Kepler back. He's got room in front of the 403 sign. He'll make the catch, and that ends the inning. So Lance Lynn minimizes the damage. He gives up a couple of runs on 3 hits, and this one was an RBI single for Gurriel. Called fair by the home plate umpire.
The code MBJ8913 to earn My Blue Jays points. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m.
Blue Jays have a 2-0 lead as the Twins are set to bat in the bottom of the second inning. It'll be Escobar, Kepler, and Robbie Grossman. Escobar playing at third base tonight. He's made 14 starts at shortstop. Taking advantage of the shift, tried to drop a bunt down, and not a bad idea.
That's Aledmys Diaz over there at, quote, third base in the shift. Solarte has gone over to play second base.
There's a ground ball. Gurriel waits right at the edge of the grass, makes the play.
But they elected to have Diaz playing there at third base. That's why Escobar tried to bunt on. Not real experienced in coming in like a third baseman and trying to play that bunt play.
Yeah, the Blue Jays will keep the third baseman there on a shift if they think the batter's got a chance to bunt, at least until they get 2 strikes. Then they'll turn him around. Sanchez is pounding the strike zone early tonight. Easy 95.
I think he's getting real comfortable, Buck, with his delivery. You can see how compact he is, how under control he is. We might see some more high fastballs like we saw in his last outing, more curveballs today, because I think he's becoming more comfortable with his delivery and his release point.
Well, he missed basically the entire season a year ago with the finger and blister issues, and he was really chomping at the bit to start this season. And he was overthrowing early on. We saw that against the Yankees in his first start, but now he's settled into a very good tempo and rhythm.
Pete's very happy where he is, where he's really feeling confident right now, where he doesn't have to air it out or overthrow to get outs.
There's a changeup. Gurriel from the outfield makes a nice play. 2 ground ball outs to the second baseman. Well, when Aaron Sanchez is on his game, he can be dominant. That's what he was in 2016. 15-2 record. He led the American League with a 3.00 earned run average, and his whip was just over 1.
Yeah, fantastic numbers for Sanchez. He's an all-star, the whole thing. And then he had the disastrous year last year. But I think he's better this year than he was in 2016 because he's pitching. You've heard that old saying, hey, when things get tough, don't try harder, try easier. And I think we're seeing that now from Aaron, how he has really, pulled back a little bit when he gets into trouble and goes softer and gets outs. Gets a lot of soft contact.
In 2016, he made 30 starts, but there was still always that overhanging thought, hey, is he really a starter, or should we put him back in the pen? And he really had to stay focused. That's why he wasn't able to throw as many changeups. He hadn't developed it yet. He didn't throw a lot of curveballs. He just used his great moving fastball.
He was a power pitcher. I mean, not to say he's not a power pitcher now, but everything was about power. What we're watching now in the early parts of 2018, we're seeing a pitcher, a guy who is pitching. He has learned how to change speeds and move the ball around the strike zone. There's some of those high fastballs that we might see more of tonight.
Batter is Robbie Grossman, the right fielder. Grossman has a good streak going over his last 4 games. He's 6 for 13. Hits that one up the middle and splits the defense. That's the first base runner for Minnesota. A 2-out single off the bat of Robbie Grossman.
Fall behind 3-1. Your team just scored 2 runs. You don't want to walk anybody, so you'll challenge him with a fastball 3-1, and he gets one belt high over the middle of the plate. Like we said, the Twins are still missing 2 regulars, but they're still a dangerous team.
Here's Logan Morrison. He signed as a free agent late in the offseason. It's his 22nd game of the season, and Sanchez hits him. Morrison had really been scuffling. That's the last thing Aaron Sanchez wanted to do, was hit the number 7 hitter with 2 outs and push Robbie Grossman to second.
Gibby is saying, I want to take a look at that one. Morrison was right on top of the plate and stepped into it, then tries to back off. It sounded like it might have hit something. Let's see.
Boy, if it did, it just brushed his jersey, nothing more.
It looked like the jersey moved. Did you see it when the ball went by? It looked like it moved.
So now there are 2 outs for Mitch Garver, the catcher. Morrison at first, hit by a pitch. Garver 7 for 28, a 250 average. just off the plate outside. A couple of home runs. So you mentioned Jason Castro as the #1 catcher here.
2 solo home runs. His only RBIs this year. Got to put him away.
Changeup missed in the dirt. 2-0. Sanchez fell behind Robbie Grossman 3-1 and gave up a 2-out single. Then he hit Logan Morrison with the first pitch. All of this comes with 2 outs. Garver got into 23 games last season. Now it's 3-0. Garver was originally drafted in the 9th round by the Twins in 2013 out of the University of New Mexico.
Well, you mentioned he's got some home run power. Maybe they let him go here. Down by a couple of runs. They've been struggling to score runs. He just lost a series to the Reds, who had the worst record in baseball. They lost 2 out of 3 games to Cincinnati.
Three balls and a strike. There's a base hit to left field. Granderson's in good shape. They're going to stop the runner at third. Curtis got to that ball very quickly. Gene Glynn, the third base coach, put up the stop sign for Robbie Grossman. That was hit right at the left fielder.
Yeah, and 3-1. Got to come in with the fastball again down at the bottom of the order. Ball's hit so hard right at Granderson on 2 hops. So you've got to be able to hold that runner at third base. Again, they wanted that fastball down and away, and it leaks out over the middle of the plate about belt high. And good major league hitters are not going to miss that pitch.
So the #9 hitter, Avery Adrianza, playing at shortstop. Bases are loaded for the Twins. Goes after the first pitch. That might have been a changeup. He rolled over on it.
Yeah, it looked like he was out front. We were talking in the opening about Sanchez finally taming that changeup, that he's feeling very confident with it. He'll throw it at any time. That one was 89 miles an hour, just a little bit faster than what we have seen from him.
Well, Russell Martin understands the significance of this at bat, so he went to the mound, talked things over with Sanchez. Adrianza batting .235. There's the shortstop, and that'll end the inning. Diaz steps on the bag. The Twins will leave the bases loaded. So Sanchez gets out of the jam, and the Blue Jays hold on to their 2-0 lead. tonight.
Did you see the injury that Bogarts sustained? Yes. I mean, he got the ball on a cutoff, tried to flip it to third base. There was nobody there, so he went to chase the ball down and slid, and hairline fracture, slid into the dugout. Unfortunate, but they didn't miss him.
No, they got hot. Justin Smoke, he grounded out to second base his first time up. So it's a 2-0 Blue Jay lead as they bat in the top half of the third. Smoke had that 4-for-4 game, and he had a pretty good homestand, 7 for 21, a double, a home run. He drove in 3. He's now 0 for his last 7.
It's a good matchup for him. A lot of fastballs, and he likes to keep it down. Smokey's a very good low ball hitter from the left side, especially. He's got that little uppercut. When he goes and gets that low fastball, he can elevate it and get it up in the air to right field.
He really hasn't had the timing yet from this side of the plate. He's batting just 175 at the start of play tonight as a left-handed hitter. Opponents continue to switch Smokey around to his right side. They bring left-handers in all the time, and he's hitting 375 against lefty pitching.
His natural position, or his natural side, he learned to hit left-handed in high school.
Gets jammed on that inside pitch, fouls it up. Smoke is now 31 years old. He had a breakout season a year ago. He was the starting first baseman on the All-Star team. His first All-Star appearance.
What a difference a year makes for him.
Ground ball. Dozier from the outfield grass throws the first.
The 2018 Civic. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Tom Kelly, the great former manager here in Minnesota, on that beautiful statue. They've done a terrific job of highlighting some of the great players that have played here in the past with those statues outside on the concourse as you walk up to the stadium.
And believe me, they have had great players playing for this organization over the years. Hall of Famers.
Yeah, you think about Harmon Killebrew, of course, terrific power hitter. They've just done a terrific job over the years. Tom Kelly, number 10, Bert Blyleven, Hall of Famer, number 28. Fly ball into shallow left. Rosario on the run. That was dropped. Solarte 2 for 2. Hit that one off the end of the bat, and it dropped in front of Rosario.
That looked like a ball that should have been caught right there. It was hit high enough by Solarte. Breaking ball, he reaches out, hits a little pop-up, inside-out swing to left field. Rosario didn't look like he got a real good read on it and then gave up.
Boy, he sure did. And I think Solarte thought it was going to be a routine fly ball to left because he just kind of jogged up the first baseline, but he's 2 for 2, and he'll take it. Well, here is the red-hot Kevin Pillar. He doubled and scored his first time up to extend his hit streak to 5 straight.
Would that be categorized as an interesting defensive move right there? That was
very interesting.
I mean, that's the type of defense they've been playing. The Twins for years have been known as a fundamentally sound organization that makes all the plays defensively. But this year, it hasn't happened for them yet.
Yeah, and you know what? It started with Tom Kelly, of course, and he was really a guy that concerned himself with the details. I mean, there are many stories about it. Paul Molitor has maintained that same approach. I mean, Tom Kelly used to bring his team out after games and work on things if they weren't doing it right. And then Ron Gardner, he did the same when he took over. And now Paul Molitor, too. I was down in Fort Myers watching a spring training workout. this year, and they were going through every aspect of fundamental baseball that you can imagine. And you know, Paul grew up in the Milwaukee organization where they took a lot of pride in their defense.
Played for this team right here. And they've always been a great fundamental team.
Pilar's hitting everything right on the screws. That time it's right to the third baseman, Escobar.
And if that ball gets by Escobar, that's another extra base hit for Pilar. That's how hard he hit that ball. No chance for Rosario, the left fielder, to get over there and cut that thing off. But Escobar throws his glove out there, makes the catch.
Two outs now. Russell Martin will step in the batter's box. Martin struck out on a breaking ball his first time up. One of 3 strikeouts recorded by Lynn.
That's a cut fastball for Lynn. It's not a 4-seam straight ball. That ball's cutting away, but he just hasn't been able to locate it. First inning, he did okay.
8 pitches to retire the side in order and had a strikeout.
Yeah, and second inning, lost it. And now he's 3-0.
Now, John Gibbons will give Russell Martin a green light. In these situations, he trusts his judgment to get a good pitch to hit. Trying to get Russell going a bit as well.
Yeah, and you're thinking, okay, extra base hit. If I've got the green light, I'm thinking extra base hit.
Inside for ball 4. Well, that has been a problem for Lance Lynn, and it's not something that he's dealt with much in the past.
No, he's always been a guy with great command and great control. His last 5 seasons, walks per 9 innings have escalated this year. 9 per 9 innings almost. That's his 3rd walk already tonight.
One was intentional. Kendrys Morales was given a free pass in the 2nd, but he walked Curtis Granderson with the bases loaded. Now he's walked Martin. Another wide one at 91. He fell behind Kendrys Morales 3-1, and then Paul Molitor decided just to walk him. Had the base open at first.
That's 5 in a row. If you're Morales, look for one pitch right down the middle. I'm not giving it to him.
No, he knows that Morales is keyhole and looking for a fastball. "17 home runs in his career against Minnesota." He spent a lot of time with Kansas City in the same division. Staying away. Kendrys, he's mired in a bit of a slump. He's 0 for his last 18. His career longest hitless streak, 21 at bats back in 2014.
Bust out in a big way with a home run.
Another walk. All those pitches missing the same spot. And we mentioned Lance Lynn has always been a strike thrower. He hasn't found it yet this season. Paul Molitor's bullpen has been abused. They have made a addition to the bullpen. They brought up John Curtis, another right-hander, to give him a fresh arm in that pen.
They're just not getting any innings from their starters. Entering play tonight, Twin starters had the fewest inning pitched in Major League Baseball. Before tonight, under 120 innings from their starters this year. And that's counting one complete game that they had already this year by Barrios.
Barrios threw a complete game opening day.
They have struggled, and they have not been able to go deep into games. So Molly's had to really wear out his bullpen.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. had an RBI single in the second. A very curious single that rolled up the third baseline about 30 feet. There's a high strike. No Bronx cheer. They're breaking it out in the Midwest.
Chance to have a big night. Second time he has come up with the bases loaded.
Well, what a swing. He had a good cut at that one.
Yeah, he was thinking, I'm going to clear the bases with one swing. He got a fastball to his liking. Look at this aggressive hack at that ball. Quick.
Foul tip held on to by Carver for the strikeout. So Lynn walks a couple. But the Blue Jays leave the bases loaded. Still a 2-0 lead for Aaron Sanchez.
Fastball more than 70 times in the matinee win. I spoke with Hap today. He maintained how critical it'll be for him to stay aggressive, continue to switch between the 2 and 4 seam, change eye levels. But more than that, Hap has become more aware of who he is as a pitcher, that even after a bad start, he says he's now, quote, better equipped mentally to handle the grind. And he's made team history. The last pitcher in back-to-back starts to strike out 9 and not allow a walk, Roger Clemens, 1997.
Buck, he was pretty good. Roger Clemens in 97 did it from May 5th to May 10th, a couple of starts where he did the same thing Jay Happ has done his last 2 starts, 9 or more strikeouts in back-to-back games without issuing a walk. Jay's really in a groove right now. And you know what? He's a hard worker. He's a character guy. He's the kind of guy you want to build a rotation around. And I know he's 35 years old, but we've talked about this before. He's a free agent at the end of this season. You know, there's a couple of ways to think about it. You could sign him and build around him for next year or so, maybe 2. Or he becomes a very attractive pitcher for other teams. But I'd like to see Jay Happ stay right where he is.
The birth certificate might say 35, but that body doesn't say 35. And if I'm the Blue Jays, don't even let him get the free agency. Start those conversations now. He's a great teammate, hard worker, like you said, and he's really come into his own over the last 2 or 3 seasons.
20-4 2 years ago, and boy, he's off to a real good start. This is Brian Dozier, the leadoff man for Minnesota. He lined out on the first pitch he saw tonight, lined out to the second baseman. This time he hits a grounder. Gurriel from shortstop basically throws him out easily.
I was watching Gurriel turn double plays today during batting practice, and I was amazed at how quick his hands are and how quick he gets rid of the ball and the power and the speed he has on his throws. That was an easy flick of the wrist right there from shortstop position, and he made it look easy.
He's a very interesting young player for sure.
I think he's the type of player, Buck, that the more he plays at this level, the better he's going to get. He's going to get the best coaching in all of baseball. He's playing against the best right now, and playing against better competition. For some athletes, they raise the bar.
Well, he is such a good player. He's 24 years old. He defected from Cuba in February of 2016 when he was in the Dominican Republic. There's so many great Cuban players that Gurriel got a chance to meet one of the all-time great Cuban players during batting practice, Tony Oliva. And they were all talking, of course. The Blue Jays have 3 Cubans on their team. Tony Oliva, a terrific player for Minnesota for a long time, also from Cuba. And he was very proud to see the young Cubans on this Blue Jays team. And I asked Tony, I said, did you know Lourdes Gurriel Sr.? He says, I did know of him, but my brother played with him in Cuba.
His brother Carlos played with Lourdes Jr.'s father in Cuba.
And Tony said that they all agree that Lourdes Jr. is the best of all of them. And that's high praise. We know what Ulieski has done for the Astros. Well, with the walk, let's check in with Jamie Campbell. A very timely update, Jamie Campbell. Well done. Well, his line to left field. Granderson is there as Rosario lines out to the left fielder. So Sanchez, after the walk to Mauer, gets Rosario to line out to Granderson. 2 outs for the cleanup hitter, Eduardo Escobar.
This is where Miguel Sano would be hitting for this team, the big power hitting third baseman. But he's on the disabled list with some hamstring problems. You and I had a chance to see him working out today.
Yeah, he is just trying to get back to playing. He's missed the last 2 games. And they were out running him around in the outfield prior to batting practice to see where he was. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. High fly ball. Big center field. Pilar backing up. That ball's carrying more than he expected it to, but he's able to run it down short of the warning track in center. Tony Oliva, an iconic player, a 3-time batting champ here for the Minnesota Twins. 1971, he led the league with a .337 batting average.
home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At-Bat Premium, so you can watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. MLB.tv for details. Who you won't be seeing the rest of this big league season, Corey Seager. The Dodgers announcing their shortstop is done for the year. Tommy John surgery needed in the right elbow. That sound buck could be Andrew Friedman calling Dan Duquette in Baltimore.
Oh, rash. Maybe a little Manny Machado action. Get him out there ahead of time. Interesting. Lemus Diaz goes after the first pitch and skies it into center field. Max Kepler makes the catch. One away.
They have some players to play shortstop for them. Chris Taylor can play shortstop.
Chris Taylor can play shortstop for sure.
Enrique Hernandez can also play shortstop for him. Now, they're not going to be Corey Seager.
They are really a team that makes you scratch your head. Clayton Kershaw is 1-4. The Dodgers themselves are 12-15, 7 games back of the front-running Arizona Diamondbacks. It's just been an interesting month. Kenley Jansen has 2 blown saves already. Rich Hill's on the DL with an infected finger, and Dave Roberts benched Cody Bellinger for not hustling.
For not hustling. Alex Woods 0-3. They lost Justin Turner. He's on the disabled list.
Yeah, Turner, I think he started to swing the bat off the tee and then soft toss, but he's still a ways away. Curtis Granderson lines it sharply, but foul down the right side. Curtis had a bases loaded walk in the second, credited with his 13th RBI of the season. Curtis has an interesting connection with this ballpark. He hit the first inside the park home run here at Target Field back in 2011.
This park is built for him, the type of swing that he has. If you pull it to right field from those box seats to the foul line for a left-handed power hitter, that's an easy one. If you've got the speed that he has, it's huge out in left center and right center field. If you roll a ball out there and it bangs around, that's an easy triple or an inside the park home run.
Takes another walk. Granderson has been terrific in his ability to work the count. That'll be his 13th walk of the season. 5th of the ball game issued by Lynn. Teoscar Hernandez, he's going to be looking for a first pitch fastball after that walk. And he has to remind himself, don't get too big.
Yeah, he's going to probably throw him a cutter. If he does, it's going to be away. And he's been saying, you know, they've been pitching me away. I've had to learn to hit the ball the other way. Tries to come up and in.
Straighten him up with a fastball.
And he's done a heck of a job of hitting the ball the other way with authority. He has that unique ability to get underneath the ball and really drive it and get it in the air to right center field and center field. I think that's the biggest improvement that we have seen from him is his ability to see pitches and recognize pitches.
Just gaining with experience. See how he spreads his hits around. It's jammed on that pitch.
Another one of those young players, I think the more he plays, the more instruction he gets at the major league level, understands the league, goes through the league a couple of times, he's going to be better. He's going to be a better player for it.
There's only so much you can do in the minor leagues. You're not seeing the quality pitching day in and day out. You might see one guy a week that's a major league caliber pitcher, but in the big leagues you see him every night. So regular at bats in the big leagues, it's the best place to learn. You'll find out quickly. He drills that pitch down and away over the glove of Bobby Grossman. Granderson's headed around second. He'll go to third as Teoscar hit a bullet over the glove of Robbie Grossman. And we have seen that consistently from Hernandez, the ability to hit the ball hard to the opposite field.
Yeah, and he just has a different sound when he connects with the ball and he hits it squarely. It's got a different sound. I mean, with power and authority, that's a line drive about 360 feet over the head of the right fielder. Ball handcuffs Grossman and took off on him. Lance Lynn can't believe it. Got to go back up a base.
Well, there have been a couple of plays in the outfield in the last 2 innings that should have been made behind Lance Lynn. Rosario in left field on a pop off the bat of Solarte didn't make a play. And that ball, Major League outfielder should catch that ball. One out for Smoke, second and third. Ball gets away from the catcher and a run's going to score. Boy, the problems continue for the Minnesota Twins in the field. You got a runner at third base, a swing and a miss from Smoke, and the catcher just had to go back to the backstop on it.
Some shaky defense for sure from the Twins. You know, their defensive metrics are telling you they are not making the plays in the field. This is going to be a pass ball. That's a catchable ball for Garver. And Granderson picks up on the pass ball. He scores really without a throw.
Infield now drawn in on the right side. 3 defenders on the right side of second. Hernandez at third. Smoke goes after that high pitch.
Boy, there's nothing more deflating, I think, for a pitcher and for a team than shaggy defense. When you don't catch the ball, you don't make plays that you're supposed to make. It's really deflating for everybody. Blue Jays have to take advantage of it.
Smoke hits it down the right side. If it's fair, it's trouble, and the ball is going to slice into the seats. Out of play.
They've had their opportunities tonight. The last 2 innings, they've left the bases loaded. They were only able to score 2 runs in the last 2 innings with all those base runners.
Now this fan down there in the seats made a nice catch.
Look at his hat.
Fan.
Yeah, look at his hat. Whoops.
He dropped it. It's not a catch.
Yeah, you got to take it out, right? You got to take it out with your throwing hand.
This is high and deep. Get up, ball. Get up, ball. Get out of here. Gone. Home run for Smoke. They cash it in from third.
Sooner or later, when you don't make the plays in the field, it's going to come back and bite you hard. They let a run score on a pass ball. You bring the infield in, and as a hitter, you're just trying to get that ball up into the air and get it into the outfield so you can get at least 1 run. Smoke does one better. He catches that fastball out in front and clocks it to right field.
Home run number 4 for Smoke. RBIs 16 and 17, and the Blue Jays have a 5-0 lead.
Boy, there's nothing finer than bringing the infield in and getting a pitch like that. Home run hitters know what to do with it.
Really got it where he wanted it, right on the inside part of the plate, but Smoke was able to get the hands out. But you're right about defense really deflating a pitcher. You make pitches, you expect to get outs, and then you try to pitch a little bit better. Try to strike out everybody. That's when you really create problems for yourself.
You make mistakes, and then it just becomes a landslide.
This is popped up, foul ground. Escobar, long run. The third baseman will not make the play.
That is a tough play for the third baseman. A little bit easier play for the left fielder, but he had no chance.
Yeah, this is a long run for Escobar all the way down the left field line, and Rosario gets there much after the fact. A ball and 2 strikes on Solarte. He's already 2 for 2. Little tapper up the first baseline. Bauer steps on the bag. 2 away. Smoke hit the home run, his 4th of the season. And you can see the StatsCast 100-mile-an-hour high fly ball, 377 feet from home plate.
Had to get it up high to get it over that high wall in right field.
Looks like more Blue Jay fans got a souvenir. The Blue Jays have now homered in 23 of their 28 games this season. Only the Yankees have hit more home runs than the Blue Jays in the American League.
And only the Yankees have a higher percentage of hits that are extra base hits this season than the Blue Jays. That is starting tonight.
At the start of play tonight, the Yankees had 62 doubles, 4 triples, and 41 homers. The Blue Jays had 47 doubles, 6 triples, and 38 home runs. Now 39.
Pilar's got an extra base hit tonight. Hernandez has an extra base hit.
Last 8 hits for Pilar have been extra base hits, 4 doubles, a triple, and 3 homers. Working on his OPS.
He would have had another one if Escobar didn't catch that ball. He lined down hard just last inning to the third baseman. Right now, that ball's got to look huge to him.
And he's really not taking any big wild swings. Stayed on that ball up and away, fouls it into the seats.
You know, the secret to a good hitter, and Joe Mauer told me this today, it's getting a good pitch to hit, understanding the strike zone, and swinging at strikes. I think you're seeing that from Pilar over the last, week or 10 days or so. He's swinging at strikes.
He gets jammed on that one. Lynn was late getting off the mound. Pilar slides in at first base, and he's called out. Lance Lynn, a little hesitation before he broke for first base. And the Blue Jays are going to probably have a look at it. It was bang bang at first. Pilar with the head first slide. He is called out by first base umpire Adrian Johnson. And the Blue Jays are going to check with their video room.
Well, let's see. We get a chance to look at this. Did not look like the glove had moved. I'm looking at the glove to see when it moves and when Pilar's on there. Doesn't look like they're going to look at it.
Nope, they will not challenge the call at first base. The call will stand. That ends the inning, but the Blue Jays get 3 runs on a 2-run home run and a pass ball. Justin Smoke goes deep for the 4th time this season, and the Blue Jays have a 5-0 lead.
receive this Kevin Pillar caped replica jersey, part of the Mother's Day festivities at the Rogers Center in the 200-level Western Flight Deck. They've created an oasis dedicated to pampering mom. It's Blue Jays Red Sox, 1 o'clock, bluejays.com for tickets. It was last Mother's Day. Pillar hit the walk-off home run to win the game at home. Guys?
So that's why he's being featured on this Mother's Day. 5-0 Jays as Sanchez works to the Twins here in the bottom of the fourth. Max Kepler is playing in center field in the absence of Byron Buxton. That's a trouble down the right field line. That's going to drop in front of Hernandez and get past him. Kepler is headed for third, and he's going to get there without a throw. Oscar Hernandez playing for the fourth time in right field. Doesn't appear to be comfortable in right field as well as he's comfortable in left.
Yeah, he can play all three outfield positions. He can tell you that. But when you watch him in right field, he looks a little tentative. And when you make mistakes in the outfield, they're not one bases. They end up being multiple bases. Kepler hits the ball hard. He goes to pick the ball up, but it gets by him. That's going to cost the Blue Jays 2 bases. Looked like he had a chance to hold him to a single, but when the ball gets by him, Kepler with his speed makes it all the way to third base.
So Robbie Grossman, who singled his first time up at the plate, and he goes after the first pitch. Inside, ball on the strike.
You know, this is where we might see Aaron reach back for a little something extra. He doesn't have a strikeout today, which is okay. Pitch count is in good shape, but he needs a strikeout here. You might see him reach back for a little something extra.
Well, you can't really worry about that runner at third now. You got a 5-run lead. You don't have to try to strand him. You could give up a extra base hit to start the inning. Chances are he's going to score. So just think about minimizing the damage.
Well, I think what he should do is, if he's going to give up a run by getting it out, like a ground out or a long fly ball, something like that, if you're going to give up a run. Can't get a little bit too greedy now. If you try too hard, if you reach back for too much, you're going to fall behind and walk them.
2 balls and 2 strikes with Kepler at third. Now it's a full count. Logan Morrison is on deck. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. Fly ball to right. Hernandez coming in. He makes the catch, and Kepler got in between. The sinking liner. Hernandez makes the catch. Kepler wasn't sure if it was going to drop safely, but he does not tag. He's holding third. It really wasn't deep enough.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to tag, but then he was going to leave early. So then he had to put on the brakes and just stop right there. I don't think he could have tagged up and scored on this. Watch him over there at third base. He's in between. He's not real sure. He said, I can't score. First thing you have to do is you got to go back to the bag and tag up any ball into the outfield.
This is a very un-Twins-like ball game. Now Kepler's got to go right back as soon as that ball's hit to right. Tag up. If it drops, he can waltz home.
Mm-hmm.
If he tags up, he's got a chance to score. Logan Morrison, we mentioned he was hit by a pitch, just brushed his jersey his first time up. He would be stranded, part of the Twins stranding the bases loaded in the second.
See how Aaron reached back for a little something extra. They've been going four-seam fastball up, but they don't want the ball up and out of the strike zone. They want it right at the top of the strike zone. Pete says, I want to give that hitter an idea of a pitch to swing at. that one that's way up is a useless pitch.
And breaking ball got away from him. Morrison is 1 for 13 going up against Eric Sanchez. Three and one now. Broken bat, grounder to Gurriel. He'll take the out at first. The run comes in to score. Max Kepler scores the Twins' first run of the night. On the ground out by Logan Morrison. Morrison picks up his 7th RBI of the season. So it's 5-1 Blue Jays. It's Garver. Got a good pitch hit on a 3-1 count. His first time up. In the second, he singled to left. Goes after that first pitch and rips it into center.
Fastball cost him a run last inning, so the next thing you can do is just try and help your team out offensively. I don't know if that was a changeup that was elevated or not, but he got on top of it.
A 2-out single for Garver. He's 2 for 2. A-Ray Adrianza, the shortstop. You know, the Twins, the wild card team a year ago, got into the postseason. And you mentioned they don't have Byron Buxton nor Miguel Sano or their shortstop from a year ago, Jorge Polanco.
Yeah, Polanco's suspended. Sano is day-to-day with that hamstring problem.
Ground ball. Gurriel has it. Should end the inning, and it does. But Minnesota gets a run on a couple of hits. Aaron Sanchez and the Blue Jays still have a 5-1 lead. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Sidlin in the Samsung Broadcast Studio. having a tough start to their season, and a couple of pitchers as well. Morales-Martin will be the first 2 hitters in this inning, and they have both gotten off to tough starts.
Yeah, they're veterans. They've been through these types of seasons before. You know, when it's all said and done at the end of the season, their numbers will probably be about the same. So you don't panic. That's the main thing. It's really tough to look up at that scoreboard and see a 1 in that first number next to your name for your batting average. But what you don't want to panic and try and get it all back in one game, because that's not going to happen. What you want to do is just get hot and say, okay, I'm going to put, you know, a hot streak together for a week or 10 days and just concentrate on good at bats. And if you have good at bats, then you start having good games. Then you start having, you know, a couple of good games in a row. You can constantly do that. And the next thing you know, you got that batting average up to 250, 260.
And you know what? You like to get results, but at the same time, you have to have a good process, a good foundation to get those results.
And be patient. You know, you can't get it all back in one game. That's impossible. Players are getting up to, you know, the 100 at bat area. So it's not like you got 20 at bats and you go 4 for 4 and you're going to add 150 points to your batting average. So it's going to be a process.
Upstairs to Russell Martin, it's 3-0. Boy, Lance Lynn, you can really see his command is off, and with that, Trevor Hilgenberger is starting to loosen up for the Twins. There's a deep drive to left field. Russell Martin, get up, ball, get up, ball, get out of here, gone. That'll get you going a little bit. Home run number 3 for the Blue Jays catcher.
And his manager still shows confidence in a veteran hitter like Russell Martin, even though his batting average is sub 200. He's in the driver's seat at 3-0. Let him swing away. Let him get himself out of the slump or the doldrums, whatever you want to call it, with a big blow. And he rewards his manager with his 3rd home run. That was a no doubt about it home run to left field for Russell Martin.
That's a start. You can see Russell, he said, okay, maybe that'll get me going a little bit. There's Gift in Gope. He has made it. He wasn't here during batting practice, but he has been called up. And he is now in the dugout. Kenrys Morales grounds out to the shortstop. Another look at the pretty swing off Russell Martin.
You know you're getting a fastball 3-0. What you tell yourself is don't overswing. Just put a good swing on it and good things are going to happen. Look at this, right into the second deck here. Blue Jays have really had a lot of success in this ballpark since it's opened.
It's the 3rd time a Blue Jay hitter has hit a 3-0 home run this season. Lourdes Gurriel had an RBI single in the first, struck out in the 3rd. Breaking ball backs up inside. You mentioned the Blue Jays' success since 2008. Blue Jays are 48-21 against Minnesota. That's the best record of any single team except the Yankees against the Twins. The Yankees 54-21 against Minnesota. That's cued off the end of the bat past Lynn. Dozier is there to make the play.
Lance Lynn has given up his share of home runs. They wanted to go down and away. I mean, you couldn't place that ball on a tee any better for Martin. That was bell tie right down the middle.
(6-1) Blue Jays. Two more home runs for the Jays. They hit 3 yesterday. They have now hit 40 home runs this season. And they don't have their best home run hitter, Josh Donaldson,
who loves this ballpark.
Diaz grounds out to second. That ends the inning, but Russell Martin hits a leadoff home run in the 5th. For Martin, his 3rd home run of the season, his 2nd career home run against the starter, Lance Lynn.
to go all in with Russell Martin and the Blue Jays on the field at Rogers Center. It's the 55 Poker Classic, and tickets in support of Jays Care are on sale now. You can visit jayscare.com/poker to sign up for that. Meanwhile, John Gibbons still without Josh Donaldson. Guys, you were just talking about him before the break. Donaldson played in a simulated game today, is going to have a rehab start tomorrow. Still no timetable, but the Blue Jays are in Tampa this weekend. Could we see Donaldson then? Stay tuned.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call. And that's generally been the way things turn out. Let him play until Thursday. Join the team on Friday. Activate him. Get him back into the swing of things. You mentioned the Blue Jays playing so well against the Twins. Josh Donaldson, in his 3 seasons with the Blue Jays, in 21 games against Minnesota, has 17 home runs and 32 RBIs.
Oh. And he loves hitting in this ballpark. He made it look small last year, didn't he?
Hit 5 home runs in a 4-game series last September. Part of that big second half push he put on. Yeah, Blue Jays need him back. There's no question about it. Dozier, it's all tied up on that inside heater from Sanchez.
Got to be careful with Dozier. He's a great dead red fastball hitter, especially early in the count. He's scuffling a little bit right now.
That fastball runs up and in, and Dozier strikes out.
The Lawn and Garden event is on now until May 15th, only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Here's how.
That's the first strikeout of the ball game for Aaron Sanchez. So he starts the bottom of the 5th. Minnesota a run on 4 hits. They've stranded 5. Blue Jays have 6 runs on 7 hits and a pair of home runs. Joe Mauer, you mentioned Mauer and his great approach at the plate. He had a chance to talk to another pretty good hitter over the weekend.
Yeah, Joey Votto was in town with the Cincinnati Reds, and Votto was talking about when he was a younger player how he would study film of Joe Mauer, trying to be like Joe Mauer. And those two got together over the weekend and talked about hitting, and Votto says to him, hey, am I crazy? But what about this approach? If I aim for that right center field and just try to command the outside part of the plate and then turn on any pitches on the inside part of the plate, you think that's a good approach? Votto's saying that to Mauer. He goes, heck yeah, that's a great approach. That's exactly what I do. And they're very similar type of hitters, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're always thinking about a good line drive approach. They'll take their walks. Mauer has 23 walks this season while striking out just 11 times. So that's a pretty good approach. Set your sights on deep right center as a left-handed hitter and anticipate hitting the ball from there all the way to the left field line.
You stay inside the ball that way. You stay on the ball that way.
Sanchez may have tipped it. Gurriel quickly in time to retire Mauer.
But he's just a great hitter with a great approach at the plate. He was saying when he was younger, he really liked the way Tony Gwynn's approach was at the plate. And he's got that Tony Gwynn type of approach, hit the ball the other way, but obviously more power.
2 outs for Sanchez. Eddie Rosario, the left fielder. A couple of lineouts both to left field.
He is a free swinger too. He is not going to get cheated.
That was a changeup, 89 miles an hour. He turned it over.
Doesn't seem like he has the feel for his changeup like he has had the last couple of games. That changeup was 90 miles an hour. We've seen 89, 90 with that changeup. When he was going well, it was 86, 87, topped out at 88. It's so amazing when you talk to pitchers. They don't take the same stuff out there from start to start. They might have a good feel for the curveball. They might have a good feel for the changeup. Jay Happ had his feel for his fastball yesterday and then just kept pounding the strike zone.
Rosario takes ball 4. That's the second walk issued by Sanchez. It comes with 2 outs. Yeah, but when you talk to starting pitchers, they'll make 30, 32 starts, and most of the veteran pitchers will tell you, you can count on almost 2 hands how many times you go to the mound with everything working for you. This doesn't happen that frequently.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. Sometimes if you don't get a feel for that one pitch, you got to go find outs a different way.
Escobar jumps on the first pitch. This is high and deep to center, and this one is gone. And runner Escobar, his 4th home run.
To the deepest part of the ballpark after a 2-out walk. You're the next hitter. What are you looking for? You're looking for a fastball right down the middle, something you can jump on. And the Twins take advantage of the 2-out walk. Get it back with one swing. Deep to center field.
There's a line drive. Pilar is on the run. It is going to be caught by Kevin Pilar. Kepler hit it hard toward the power alley in left field. But Kevin Pilar, as he does so often, runs it down to take extra bases away from Kepler. Pilar with a little extra extension. The Blue Jays hold on to their 6-3 lead. Make his 12th appearance of the season. Lance Lynn, the starter, is out after 5 innings, and the Blue Jays have the lead. Top of the order for the Jays to face Hilgenberg. Curtis Granderson and Teoscar Hernandez, and they have both gotten off to great starts in this 2018 season.
Well, what you want from the top of your lineup, you want on-base percentage, you want some production, you want guys who are going to see a lot of pitches, and you're seeing that now. Curtis Granderson at 311. Teoscar Hernandez at 317. They're 1 and 2 in the lineup tonight. Pilar's been swinging a hot bat lately, and Jay Happ has been great this year. But those first 2 guys in your lineup, I mean, he has taken to leading off for the Blue Jays. Granderson and Teoscar, since they've moved him into that number 2 hole, it's been sensational. It seems like they're on base all the time.
Do you think Granderson's approach at the plate has rubbed off somewhat on Hernandez as he stands on deck and watches him. Curtis doesn't swing at too many bad pitches.
He has great strike zone awareness, meaning that, yeah, he'll take that first pitch all the time just to get an idea of what that pitcher's throwing. But Hernandez, I think, I wouldn't say he's the same type of hitter as Granderson, but his approach has been so much better that he's not swinging at pitches out of the strike zone as frequently as he was last year.
Hildenberger strikes out Granderson for the first out of the inning. And that will bring Teoscar to the plate. You know, he's so powerful, man. He's got as much power as anybody on the Blue Jays. But just seeing Granderson and how patient he is, I think it's just a reminder, hey, get a good pitch to hit. Like you said earlier, you know, the most important part of hitting is getting a good pitch to hit.
See that on-base percentage for Hernandez, 388 with production. And again, he said that hit he got his first game against Andrew Miller gave him so much confidence.
It's right back to the mound, the tapper. Hildenberger 2 up, 2 down here to start the 6th.
It's amazing that at bat, if you recall, it looked like Andrew Miller had him struck out, but then he came back with a hanging slider, and Teoscar ripped it down the left field line for an RBI double. That was in Cleveland when the Blue Jays were there a few weeks ago. And from then on, he has just hit everything.
He would get that double off of Miller and then get another RBI double in the 9th inning. It came off Tyler Olson. You know, he knocked Matt Belisle out with his second double. Smoke hits it hard, but Rozier's right there. Trevor Hildenberger uses just 6 pitches to set down the side-in order in the top half of the 6th. By authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership, it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The Blue Jays home run hitters are back at it again tonight. Justin Smoke hit a 2-run shot in the 4th. Russell Martin hit a solo home run in the 5th. Blue Jays now have 40 home runs for the season. They've homered in 23 of their 28 games played this season.
Would you classify them as a home run hitting team?
No.
I wouldn't either.
It's just a result of good approaches, good swings, getting good pitches to him.
That's right.
I mean, they don't have a Jose Bautista or Donaldson right now or an Encarnacion. Those are home run hitters.
Yeah. Those are 40 home run guys with they can just power the ball out. Right now, the Blue Jays are making their home runs off of good at-bats and good approach.
This is the right fielder, Robbie Grossman. He's 1 for 2. When you think about it, though, when you consider the Yankees and their powerful 3 hitters, And then you throw in Didi Gregorius, who has been ridiculous. He's got 30 RBIs for the month.
He's got more home runs than anybody, right? Didn't they leave that team with 10?
Didi, 10 home runs, 30 RBIs. He's been tremendous. He is second to Manny Machado in total bases at the start of play today. Manny Machado's hitting .361, Gregorius .340. Granderson's going to have to cut this one off and get it back in quickly. Not in time as Robbie Grossman has a leadoff double for Minnesota.
He's a good hitter. Switch hitter, sprays the ball around the ballpark. Did not try and pull that sinker down and away. He said, I'm just going to go right with it. Slices it the other way and then uses his speed and instincts to turn this into a double. Granderson knows he's got to get over there quickly, but he's got to go too far, stop on a dime and make a perfect throw to get an out. And Grossman has another hit.
Yeah, that was a double all the way for sure. This is Logan Morrison. He goes after that pitch up and away. Morrison picked up an RBI on a ground out to second his last time up. Bottom of the sixth inning, Danny Barnes starting to crank it up for the Blue Jays. Ground ball, Smoke. He'll go to the bag and step on first. Morrison's retired on the play. Grossman moves to third.
Pitch count is still in really good shape, I think, for Aaron Sanchez. And you get into that sixth inning, he's still under 80 pitches. And you got to start thinking seventh inning, maybe even the eighth inning. Give that bullpen a little bit of a breather.
This is a challenging week for the Blue Jays pitching staff. 3 games here, an afternoon game on Wednesday, and then a doubleheader in Cleveland, and then a 3-game series against the Rays in Tampa Bay.
So I think anytime you can push your starter just a little bit further, especially like you said this week, I think it'll do wonders for the bullpen.
Looks like Russell's got a little issue with his catcher's mitt. He's tightening up a lace. He's all set now. This is Mitch Garver. He was 7 for 28 coming into the game, a .250 batting average. He has since gone 2 for 2. Got a chance to pick up an RBI here. He has 2 home runs, 2 solo home runs, so he's driven in 2 runs this season. Sanchez trying to save a run. Aaron pitched 6 innings his last time out against Boston, threw 96 pitches over those 6 innings.
The strikeouts really push that pitch count up. Tonight, he's got 1.
Ground ball. Tough throw for Diaz. Scoop, get it first by Smoke. Boy, what a nice play on both ends of that ground ball. Grossman comes in to score. Garver picks up the RBI, but Diaz made a fine throw deep in the hole, then gets help over at first by Smoke.
That's why I wanted to highlight Smoke on picking those balls. This ball's in the hole. Great play by Diaz, but a better play on the other end by Smokey to pick that ball, get the out. And it's got to give the confidence of those infielders, just get it close over to first base, and he's going to make the play.
That was a great illustration of how you should go about those low throws. Smoke backhanded it and then swept right through the baseball, just finished right straight up and really made a nice play.
One of the best infield instructors I ever got to work with was Johnny Gore with the Cleveland Indians, and when I was learning to play first base, he says you want to go down, out, and up. And that was exactly what Smokey did on that ball. You go down to get it, out, and then up to pick it.
He can really pick it. Hey, Ray, Adrianza, the shortstop, he's 0 for 2. We mentioned the shortstop from a year ago, Jorge Polanco. He drove in 74 runs for the Twins, and he was suspended for failing a drug test. 80-game suspension, and that really knocked the wind out of the Twins. Happened during spring training.
Yeah, right before the season started. Hey, you're starting shortstop, and he hit in the middle of the lineup also. You're not going to have him for half the season. And then the Buxton injury was a interesting injury, too.
Byron Buxton was dealing with migraines when the team was in Puerto Rico, and he had to stay at the hotel and just sit in a dark room. Then they put him on the disabled list. And he had one rehab game playing for Fort Myers. They were in Bradenton in a Florida State game. And he fouled the ball off his toe and broke his toe.
And they really miss him in the outfield, what he does for him offensively, but more importantly in the outfield.
Canada's favorite car cheers for Canada's favorite team. Honda, proud fan since 1977, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful evening here in Minneapolis. 28 degrees at the start of the game. It couldn't be a nicer night for baseball. After so many cold, damp nights at the ballpark, this has been a real joy. Better be careful with Brian Dozier at the plate. He will try to ambush this first pitch. Can't hit that one.
No, that's the pitch he struck out on his last at bat. He is looking something middle in, preferably down. And he's looking to hook it into the seats in left field.
The Blue Jays have a 6-4 lead. Eduardo Escobar hit a 2-run home run in the 5th to dead center. Another good changeup. He's backed off the velocity a little bit in those last two changeups.
You get into these types of situations, don't try and muscle your way through it.
Ball kind of took off on Martin. 2-2 now.
Hoping for an easier inning. This might be his last inning as his pitch count has gotten up there.
92 pitches so far for Aaron. Runner moving. Ball in the dirt. Martin tried to backhand it and couldn't come up with a clean. First stolen base of the season for Adrianza.
Now, I think Paul Molitor was sensing that Sanchez wasn't paying any attention to that runner over at first base. You can see the changeup bounces in front of home plate. So you take a shot to get a guy into scoring position.
Dozier strikes out, so Sanchez leaves a runner in scoring position, but Minnesota scores a run in the bottom of the 6th. It's now a 2-run ball game as we head to the 7th. of the season. He threw 99 pitches over 5 innings. He walked 5, and that really became problematic for him as he just elevated the pitch counts. He didn't have good support defensively in the field for sure. They made some plays that make you scratch your head a little bit. And as far as the Blue Jays starter, Aaron Sanchez looks like he gets congratulations from John Gibbons for a job well done. He leaves in line for the win as he has a 2-run lead at 6-4.
Yeah, it's not confirmation, but it looks like his night might be over. Lance Lynn, 5 walks again. That's the 3rd time in 6 starts this season. Excuse me, the 3rd time in 5 starts that he has walked at least 5 batters in a game.
Solarte drills it to center field. Kepler got a good read off the bat, makes a running catch, run away. Hildenberger has retired all 4 he has faced since coming into the ballgame. Had a strikeout first batter he faced. He got Granderson to start the top of the 6th.
And he's doing it very quickly. He's only thrown 7 pitches to get those 4 outs. Sinker, slider, changeup. That's what you're going to get from him. He's going to keep the ball down, keep it around the plate. Works quickly.
Pilar rolls over on that fastball. Adrianza throws him out. Another quick out for Hildenberger. The momentum seems to be swinging in the Twins' favor here in the middle innings.
Yeah, scratching and clawing and getting a run here and a run there. It was 6-1 Blue Jays, and just like that, it's 6-4.
Now Russell Martin will step in with nobody on and sheer outs, and Russell had a long home run his last time up. An inside fastball, he hit it into the second deck in deep left field. Aaron Loop has really been on a real good run here of late, throwing the ball very well. He is starting to loosen up. Danny Barnes was up earlier.
2 lefties coming up to start next inning for Minnesota. So the only left-hander in the pen is getting loose.
Joe Mauer and Eddie Rosario will be the first 2 batters for the Twins in the bottom half of the 7th. First of 3 here in Minneapolis against the Twins. Blue Jays have lost 3 straight series trying to turn that trend around. They went 2-4 on the homestand. Lost the first game, won the first game and won the last game.
That's a different and difficult angle to try and pick the baseball up from Trevor Hildenberger. 22nd round draft pick.
University of California at Berkeley. He has had a tough stretch here at home. He's allowed at least 1 run in 4 of his 5 appearances pitching here at Target Field. Different story for him tonight.
The changeup is really working. That's one right there. He'll sweep that breaking ball away from the right-handers and sink it against left-handers. Blue Jays haven't seen a lot of Hildenberger. Only Donaldson, Morales, Pilar, and Smoke have had at-bats against him before tonight.
He turned into the setup man for Minnesota at the end of the season. He was a rookie. He became the primary setup man for the Twins from early August to the end of the season. Paul Molitor trusted him down the stretch, and you remember, as we said, they were a playoff team. Just outside. Minnesota Twins, their bullpen ERA is 6.25. Only the Kansas City Royals have a higher earned run average for their relievers. And as Pat mentioned earlier, they've pitched a lot. Another changeup and 2 good innings for Trevor Hildenberger. 6 up, 6 down. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Twins trying to make it interesting here late. Bauer, Rosario, and Escobar.
took advantage of their time in Minneapolis last night to go for a bullpen dinner. And wouldn't you know it, that was the first time Carlos Ramirez went to a steakhouse. He ordered his cut well done, and when the food arrived, the rest of the guys were howling laughing because the steak was basically a black hockey puck. It was so overcooked. Ryan Tepera said I tried to give him some pointers, but he told me he wanted no blood on the plate. Now, Ramirez was sheepish when I asked him about it today. Rookie mistake, he said. And the next time they go for their monthly bullpen dinner, Carlos said he's going to order his steak medium.
There
Buck?
you go.
Good call. I'll take my medium rare, thank you. Yeah, this is a pretty good bullpen. This is the best bullpen they've had together for a few years. Aaron Loup walking off the field now for something. I don't know if he broke a glove or what, but he's walking toward the dugout. Yeah, it's a glove. He's got to get his backup glove out of the locker room. Pitchers don't traditionally carry two gloves out like a position player would. So Loup had probably a lace break on his gamer. Marco Estrada went in to retrieve his backup glove, and now he's all set. Position players will bring two gloves out on the bench in case one of them breaks. You have it right there. But all the ball players, they have a game glove, and then they'll get a new glove each spring and break it in. Position players might do it with 2 or 3 gloves.
And that's your backup glove. You got that gamer, so I hope you're not attached to it. You know, some people can do that. You mentioned that Aaron has been throwing the ball a lot better, and I asked him about it today, and said, you know what? I changed the grip on my breaking ball. I was getting too much of a break, and I didn't feel real comfortable with it. I've gone back to that grip where the slider, I just turned the ball a little bit in my hand. So I feel like I'm getting more depth on my breaking ball. And he felt like this hand position was very important. Felt like he was getting on the side of the ball, and that was causing his ball to move all over the place. He says, I really have to concentrate now to keep my hand behind the baseball and to keep the ball down. Said Dane Johnson came up to him and said, you know what, you might feel like you're throwing good pitches, but they're up in the strike zone. They're letter high, belt high. He said, let's concentrate on getting down on the corners, keeping the ball down like that last pitch. You can't get hurt if you stay down like that.
Well, we mentioned how close this bullpen is, and they've really helped each other. They've talked a lot about pitching. Loup in his last 4 games over the span of 5 innings has allowed just 2 hits.
He felt like he was making good pitches. And he went to Dane and said, Dane, I don't know. I'm hitting the corners where I should go. Now, that's unfortunate right there. That's just a good hitter. And Dane went back and looked at his video and said, hey, if there's 3 levels to the strike zone, high, medium, and low, let's concentrate on keeping the ball low. Still hit the corners, but keep the ball low. He did right there on a beautiful pitch, but you're facing Joe Mauer.
First hit for Mauer in his career against Loup. He had been 0 for 6 until he reached out and poked that good pitch to left. So sometimes good pitches get hit. Well, Joe Mauer is a 3-time batting champ. He just recently passed the 2,000 hit barrier. Had 209 hits, closing in on the late Harmon Killebrew. He's probably within reach of Rod Carew. The question is, this is Joe Mauer's final year on a contract. Does he come back again?
What's in his plans? They don't have a replacement. As of right now, there's no replacement for Joe Mauer.
Joe Mauer grew up here in St. Paul. He is 35 years old. First overall pick in 2001. He went to Creighton High School in St. Paul, same high school Paul Molitor went to.
He told me this is his 15th year in the big leagues. Where's the time go?
Came up as a 21-year-old in 2004. Aaron Sanchez, the starter for the Blue Jays. He had a 6-pitch first inning and did a pretty good job of stranding base runners. He stranded the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. And he went 6 innings. And Loup gets Rosario to pop out. They're going to have a pitching change now. Mauer gets the single to the left. Rosario pops out, so Luke gets one of the two left-handers, and you got to tip the cap to Joe Mauer. Danny Barnes into the ball game to face Eduardo Escobar, a switch hitter who will bat left-handed against Barnes. For Barnes. He's been terrific at stranding inherited base runners, and his strikeout to walk ratio is a respectable 3-1.
Yeah, this is exactly where John Gibbons likes to use Danny Barnes right here. Bring him in the middle of an inning with runners on base and let him do his thing. High fastball, changeup, great combination. They've got Escobar hitting from the left side. This is his stronger side this season. Hitting versus right-handed pitching. He's a switch hitter.
He homered at dead center his last time up off Aaron Sanchez, and he put a charge in it.
Yeah, it's his third home run this year versus a right-handed pitcher. Deep to center field. Had him 2 quick runs a couple of innings ago.
That changeup he wouldn't chase. You mentioned that Barnes has been good when he inherits base runners. He's stranded 6 of the 8 he's inherited. He's got Mauer at first. Popped him up. Martin flips the mask off. He's got room behind home plate. Barnes gets his first man on a foul pop to the catcher. Two away now for Max Kepler. Kepler hit a triple and scored the first Twins run back in the 4th. That line drive to right that Oscar Hernandez overran. The ball skipped past him and went to the wall for the triple for Kepler, his first of the season.
He's got some power too. He's got 4 home runs. I think you got to keep the ball away from him and keep it in the big part of the ballpark. If you throw him a changeup, you got to keep the ball away from him. He's looking to pull the ball to right field.
Barnes is a master of hitting those corners, and he finds that outside corner for a strike. missed with that one. It's 3-1. In case you're not familiar with Max Kepler, he was born in Berlin, Germany. He's 25 years old, and he's getting better and better each year. You see the improvement. He's starting to play this game hitting .280.
Beat him with a fastball. Smoke at first base is now going to play behind the runner to try and shut down that hole on the right side.
Full count, 2 outs, so they'll play behind Mauer. It's only a 2-run game. Jays lead at 6-4. There goes the runner at first. Ball is popped in the air. Solarte over near the Blue Jays dugout and bangs up against the railing. Can't make the catch. Appears to be okay, but the ball was beyond his reach.
Arash, you got to give him a little help over there. Tell him where the railing is. You can see he hit it hard. There's Arash hiding behind the camera.
So we'll do it again. Mauer again will be off on the pitch. 3-2 to Kepler. Drill down the right field line. This is trouble. Off the wall. Mauer's being waved around third. Here's the throw to the plate. It is not in time. So Mauer got a head start at first. He scores all the way from first, and it's a 1-run game.
What I mean about keeping that changeup away from him. He's a very good off-speed hitter. He keeps his hands back very well. Unfortunately for the Blue Jays, that changeup just stayed over the middle of the plate. You can see Russell wants it away. It stays over the middle of the plate, and he does hook the ball to right field, and he came just a couple of feet from tying up this ball game. Off the wall, high off the wall. By the time the Blue Jays run it down, Mauer scores from first.
Tying runs at second.
Hernandez gets it off the wall. His momentum's coming home, and he can take a shot to go home. He did. If it was up the line just a little bit, if it was a little bit closer, there might have been a play at the plate.
Rami Grossman is 2 for 3. He is singled. He doubled and scored in the 6th. I wouldn't be surprised with him swing.
Oh.
They've been struggling.
And he's got 2 line drives today. Remember, his out was a long fly ball to right field also. So I'm sure Paul Molitor said, hey, you got the green light. If it's something you like, let it go.
There had been time granted at home. And Tyler Clippard starts to loosen up.
I don't know why more teams don't let hitters swing 3-0.
Like he was taking all the way and takes a strike. (6-5), a 1-run game. Just outside. Pete Walker will go to the mound. Russell Martin still having a discussion with Adam Omari, the home plate umpire. And Walker will go out and try to help Barnes work through this inning.
It's time to fire up your senses. Your best experience begins with Broil King, available at your local home hardware. Here's how.
Minnesota with two relievers, Addison Reed on the left, Ryan Presley on the right. Eddie Guardado, the bullpen coach, everyday Eddie, in a different role down in that bullpen. So there are runners at first and second. Logan Morrison is 0 for 2 with an RBI and a ground out. Picked up an RBI. First pitch swinging, and it's went into the seats.
Morrison got off to a rough start this year. This was reminiscent of his 2016 season when he got off to that rough start, but then had respectable numbers by the end of it.
He started out this season 3 for 44 with 2 RBIs. Blue Jays play him in the shift. Kepler at second has good speed, so if there should be a base hit, you can't mishandle it.
Yeah, he's going to score. I think you have to concede that, unless it's one of those one-hop shots right at the outfielder where he can charge, scoop, and throw. He's got enough speed that anything into the outfield, he's going to score. Logan Morrison's got great power. 38 home runs last year when he was with Tampa.
Little pop-up, Solarte at third will make the catch in foul ground. Barnes gets out of it. The Twins leave a pair. They score a run on 2 hits and make it a 1-run game. Goes to him. Martin a little bit upset. I'm sure he's upset at the strike zone because it looked like there were a couple of borderline pitches there. And he didn't get the call. So the new pitcher is Ryan Presley, making his 13th appearance of the season. And he's one of the few relievers that's thrown the ball well for Minnesota.
Yeah, great numbers for Presley. He's doing that with a fastball, slider, curveball combination. He'll cut it at times, but he's not walking anybody. 19 strikeouts and just 3 walks for Presley, and he's even better against the Blue Jays. Of the active roster that the Blue Jays have today, they've had 1 hit against him in their career. That was a Kevin Pillar base hit. So they are going to be in tough. First, Hildenberger did a great job, 6 up, 6 down, and now it's Presley's turn.
Despite the fact that the Twins are 1-9 in their last 10 games, they're showing a lot of character. They did not play well early in the game. They made some defensive plays that they should have made. Didn't make some catches. But now they're in a one-run game here in the 8th. Kenris Morales fouls it back to the screen. Morales has walked twice, once intentionally. He's officially 0 for 1 with a ground out.
Yeah, Blue Jays had some chances early, I think, to really blow this game open. Left the bases loaded in the 2nd and the 3rd inning. And now they're just hanging on.
That's a fair ball. Now we'll flip to Presley, 1 out. Drive of the game brought to you by the powerful 2018 Civic Type R.
You know, when we do drives of the game, we see these long, blasting home runs. While the Blue Jays have the bases loaded and you're expecting an extra base hit, how about this? The shortest RBI single in Blue Jay history, possibly, as the ball just squirts up the line. Garver picks it up. It goes as an infield hit. The drive of the game is a little squibber up the third base line tonight.
Granderson and Pierce both getting some scouting report information from Brooke Jacoby about who they might be facing. Ball and a strike to Gurriel.
You know, they can pinch hit now with Gift Ngope here. If Gurriel gets on, they might elect to pinch hit for Diaz to try and get an add-on run. And you've got Ngope then to play shortstop. There he is.
Ngope called up as Randall Grichuk was placed on the disabled list with a sprained knee. Ngope, I didn't see him during batting practice. I think he arrived after the start of the game. Ground ball. Dozier knocks it down, pops loose, not in time. Another infield hit for Gurriel.
For such a young hitter, early in his major league career, he does things at the plate that you see 3, 4, 5-year veterans do. Watch how he takes this pitch away from him and just slaps it the other way. He's a good hitter because he can handle the bat and hit the ball where it's pitched. No chance for Dozier to get him at first base.
That sharply hit ground ball was 105 miles an hour off the bat. Looked like they might be playing hit and run. Gurriel kind of anxious to get a lead over there.
He actually took a step towards second base. Like he's either going to steal or they're going to put the hit and run on.
Inside for ball 1. We mentioned Gurriel is 24 years old, but he started playing in the professional league in Cuba as a 16-year-old. He was used mostly as a pinch hitter that first season. He got 15 at bats, but he was facing 30, 35-year-old pitching. So he's got a pretty good approach at the plate. There he goes. Inside pitch. Diaz couldn't swing at it. Now the Twins are asking whether or not it was a swing of Diaz. It was inside. It was obviously a hit and run. Low throw, and Blue Jays are having a look at the tag play at second base. But that was a hit and run for sure.
Yeah, and it was a pitch on the inner half. He just couldn't swing the bat. You got to protect that runner. Gets a good break. Takes a quick look inside, and it looked like the throw beat him. Let's see. The tag actually was on the inside part of his arm, so the Blue Jays are going to take a look. Challenge the play at second base.
The appeal to first was as to whether or not Diaz swung at the pitch, and he didn't. So Gurriel on the play is called out, caught stealing. Or now we'll have another look at it. They're putting the replay up on the big video board here in Minneapolis. And if he did not touch his arm and then tagged him on the chest, he could be safe.
Yeah, it was a late tag. The throw beat him, but the tag was a little bit late, and it came on the inside part of his arm or his chest. You'd like to catch it out in front and just swipe down, but you can see where the tag is. It's up high and it's on his chest, but the umpire said not enough evidence to overturn it. So it'll be a caught stealing.
Yeah, we have seen some rendered that they won't overturn a play on the field. By some of the reviews we've had, we thought they were overturned calls. This one is upheld, the call on the field. A base hit to left field for Diaz. Gets his fastball and he hammered. Now there are 2 outs, and that'll turn the lineup over one more time. Curtis Granderson will come to the plate for the 5th time this evening. Curtis has driven in a run with a bases loaded walk and scored a run on a pass ball. "6-5, Blue Jays lead it. We're in the 8th. Outside. Ball 2. Blue Jays haven't scored since the 5th, and the Minnesota Twins have scored 4 unanswered runs to make it a 6-5 game.
Need an add-on. Need some insurance. This is where the Blue Jays do most of their damage late in a ball game.
From the 7th inning on, the Blue Jays have outscored their opponents by 31 runs. They've scored 52 runs from the 7th inning on. That's a pretty good barometer when you think about the bullpens that you're facing, the pitchers you're facing at that point of the game.
Yeah, you're not facing bridge guys or mop-up guys or whatever you want to call them. You're facing the best of the best late in the ball game. Need to do it again. Curtis has had a couple of big home runs already for the Blue Jays this year. Had the eventual game winner down in Baltimore, if you remember that game. He also had the walk-off last week.
That was in Sanchez's great ball game against the Orioles. It was a 2-1 game, and Granderson hit the decisive home run in the ninth. Three and 1. Breaking ball. Called strike. Ryan Presley trying to keep it a 1-run game here in the 8th.
He's got a great curveball, and he's not afraid to use it at any time.
He throws it. It gets away from the catcher. Diaz was running on the 3-2 pitch. Granderson walks for a 3rd time. Now has 14 walks. The Houston Astros beat the Yankees tonight 2-1. It snaps the Yankees' 9-game winning streak. Charlie Morton, 7 2/3, 10 strikeouts, 1 earned run. He's rediscovered down in Houston.
I want to know what they're doing down there in Houston, that these guys, they tick up their miles per hour when they go down there.
Teoscar Hernandez with a chance to pad the lead. Teoscar doubled and scored on Smoke's home run in the 4th. For Teoscar, 7 doubles, 2 triples, and 4 home runs.
Was that a cross-up? He
Garver,
caught it.
yeah, he's had kind of a rough night behind the plate. He got moving. Watch how he reacts to this pitch, as if he doesn't see it. I think he did get crossed up.
That's a hopeless feeling, especially when you can spin the ball like Presley can.
Three and 0. Diaz hit second. Granderson at first. Diaz with a single. Curtis walked for a third time. 2 outs. Had a green light on 3 and 0 and pops it up into center field. Rosario, the left fielder, comes over, makes the catch. The Blue Jays strand a pair. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. It's a 6-5 Jays lead. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio. Perfect 3 and 0 so far. This will be his 15th game of the year.
Yeah, and he last worked 3 days ago in that Texas series, just 2/3 of an inning through 16 pitches. So he is well rested. He is going to throw the 8th inning because Ryan Tepera has worked back-to-back days. So he must be unavailable tonight. So Tyler Clippard, who has pitched in different roles in his career as a long man, a setup man, he started some games, he's actually closed. He gets the 8th inning tonight in front of Osuna with a 1-run lead.
It'll be 8-9-1 for Minnesota. Mitch Garver, the catcher, has gone 2 for 3 with an RBI. First pitch changeup called the ball. Luke pitched the 3rd of an inning. He's charged with 1 run on 1 hit. Danny Barnes came in the game, gave up the RBI double to Kepler, and then was able to get out of the inning, stranding a pair.
Sometimes baseball just isn't fair, isn't it? Aaron Loop threw a heck of a pitch to Maury. He was only going to come in and face 2 hitters. First hitter was Maury, made a great pitch, and he just lofted a ball into the outfield, just flung his bat out there and got a base hit, made a good pitch against Rosario and got him out. But eventually that runner came around to score, and Aaron's going to be charged with an earned run.
2 balls and a strike to the leadoff man here in the 8th inning. High fastball. Clipper's been throwing a few more cutters lately. He says he thinks of it as a cutter and not a slider. so he can stay on top of the ball. Just giving him another weapon against right-handed hitters.
He's given up 3 earned runs all season long. And they're all home runs, solo home runs. His last 4 outings, his ERA has gone down in each outing. It's been scoreless. He's only given up 5 hits all season.
And that's his money pitch right there, that great changeup. Garver strikes out, first out of the bottom of the 8th inning.
He really sells that changeup. Watch his front side, the glove, really hide the ball when he throws it at the batter and then throws that arm speed. It looks like a fastball and it just dies coming towards home plate. And if you're not familiar with it, you're going to do what Garver did, swing right through it.
Adrianza shows bunt, takes a strike. He's 0 for 2. Got to get the number 9 hitter. And just Brian Dozier is on deck.
It backfired on him last time. He walked his last time up and stole a base.
Fernando Rodney, part of a effort to shore up the bullpen. They had Addison Reed, Fernando Rodney. So far, it hasn't really panned out for them.
Zach Duke, another left-hander.
There's that little slider, or sometimes that'll be the split as well, that has that movement down and into the lefties. More than likely, that was a splitter. They'll save that cutter for right-handed hitters.
The righties. Elevate. They wanted to go up in an emergency hack by Adrianza. Shakes up Russell Martin.
Yeah, that mask on the plastic batting helmet just pops free pretty easily. That was definitely the cutter. Got away from him. And that had a little more of a slider spin than it did a cutter.
Yeah, that was a breaking ball.
Nessa couldn't hang on to the foul tip. Another good changeup from Clippard. And you could see the hitter, Adrianza, almost as if he said, I just got to tick this ball. It's going to be a strike.
79 miles an hour. It's great with his fastball. His fastball's 91, 92. That's a big difference. Coming out of his hand, it looks the same. See?
Came right back with it to get the strikeout. 2 strikeouts, and now he'll face Brian Dozier with 2 outs and nobody on.
When you see those kind of defensive swings, why change anything? Go right back to your best pitch. Jams that ball back in his hand and lets it fly.
See how Adrianza reached for it, and the ball wasn't there yet when the bat went through the zone. 2 outs. Clippard with a couple of strikeouts. Now Brian Dozier. Dozier's 0 for 4.
That is odd. All the time that Clippard has spent in the American League. This is his first appearance against Brian Dozier.
Dozier might have been looking for that changeup and got the fastball. Yeah, you would think both of them have been in the league so long that they would have faced one another, but that's not the case. Dozier, always a threat, has 4 home runs this season. Well, he just floats that changeup in there. Hits the strike zone on the inside corner. It's 1-2.
Maybe we see that slider again here to the righties. He called for it.
In the dirt. Just a new look, and Dozier, as we mentioned, has not faced Clippard, so he's got certainly has the changeup on his mind. He was late on the fastball. Now he's seen the slider. Full count. Joe Mauer's on deck. He picked up his first hit of the night last time up against Aaron Luke. Fly ball slicing down the right side, and that's going to slice back out of play into the seats. Did he go around? Yes, he did, according to the first base umpire. Dozier can't believe it. He thought he checked his swing, but Adrian Johnson, the first base ump, and Clippard strikes out the side. He gets Dozier to chase that high fastball. He's out on appeal, and that's certainly a swing.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. You can count on us to get home safe. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
We are in Minneapolis, Minnesota. First game of a 3-game series. Blue Jays and Twins. Justin Smoke made a 2-run home run in the 4th. Smoke's 4th home run of the season. He now has 17 RBIs. He drove in the 4th and 5th run of the game for the Blue Jays. Russell Martin would have the decisive RBI. He hit a solo home run in the 5th, and that has still held up. Blue Jays lead at 6-5.
Yeah, that's the last time they touched home plate. That was a 3-0 pitch that Russell knocked out of here for his 3rd home run.
Smoke drives it the opposite way. Rosario's on the run at the track, at the wall, drops the ball. Smoke will end up at second. the Twins continue to kick it around defensively. He got to that ball plenty of time. Looked like it was going to be a routine catch for him. So Smoke will be credited with a leadoff double.
Yeah, that's a play that Paul Molitor knows should have been made. He's playing deep because of the power of Smoke. He's back on the warning track, reaches up and drops the ball. There have been 4, maybe even 5 plays tonight by the Twins where you're left scratching your head saying, this doesn't look like a Minnesota Twins type of team.
They rule it an error, and I probably agree with that. He got to it. He kind of slowed down. And wouldn't you know it, Solarte goes after the first pitch. Smoke's getting a wave. Here's the throw from Kepler. It is not in time. And Elvis Solarte, his 3rd hit of the night, drives home Justin Smoke. That's a big run for the Blue Jays.
He hit it in a great spot. First of all, the error by Rosario is already his 4th of the season, and it's going to cost him. Smoke legs it into second base. Now watch where this ball is hit. The center fielder's got to go away. He's got to come a long way, and that's going to give Smoke a chance to score. And then watch it hit the mound and bounce away from him. Smokey with a secondary lead. He gets the go-ahead from Louis Rivera. So you got to go. He is hustling home with a big insurance run for the Blue Jays.
That's a huge run for the Blue Jays, and they cash in immediately on that error by the left fielder. Smoke has scored a pair of runs tonight. He's driven in 2. Rosario has had a tough start to his season. 4 errors in 21 starts in left field.
There's a ball off the bat of Solarte. It looked like it could have been caught earlier in the game.
Robbie Grossman misplayed a ball earlier into a double out in right field to Oscar Hernandez at a line drive. That was a catchable ball. He just played it shallow.
The swinging bunt.
Now the catcher picked it up on the foul line. That was the first RBI. And then Lance Lynn in the second walked Granderson with the bases loaded. Off the end of the bat. And that gets away from Dozier, and he can't pick it up a second time. Wow. This has been an ugly game for the Twins. Fielder's choice error on the second baseman. Pilar hit it off the end of the bat. There was some English on the ball, no question about it. And then Dozier knocks it down, and then he tried to grab it. Still had to play at second because Solarte had to hold up.
Right there, if he comes up with it, maybe he gets a shot at the force play. But he just can't get in front of it and at least knock it down. It rolls into the outfield, and that's got to be very tough on pitchers. You make good plays or good pitches, and they don't make the plays behind you.
Still nobody out. Russell Martin showing bunt, pulls the bat back. Well, you had mentioned in their game on Sunday they had several opportunities to turn double plays and didn't get them done, and that just continues to create problems for a pitcher.
Yeah, they weren't really tailor-made plays, but there were some indecisions. There were some bobbles. They just couldn't finish off those double plays, and it cost them.
Russell Martin hits it into center. Kepler coming on the run, makes a nice diving catch. Russell Martin hit it hard right on the line. Center fielder Kepler got to it.
You know, the game is tough to begin with, but when you hit a ball like that, you want to hit in an RBI. And unfortunately, the great play by Kepler robs Russell of that hit at an RBI, and it just gets so tough. You can see the frustration for Russell. He can't believe it.
And as a hit taken away from him, now Kendrys Morales. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. Boy, the catcher gets crossed up again. I mean, if you wanted to put a script together of all the things that could go wrong for a team tonight, Garver was charged with a pass ball in the 4th inning, and watch the catcher react. He expects a fastball, and that breaking ball hits him right in the leg.
And this is a good time for a mound meeting. Spend one of them.
This is the 24th game of the season. These things shouldn't be happening. And we talked about Tom Kelly earlier. I guarantee you, if Tom Kelly were managing this club, they'd be out here after the game going over all of this stuff.
Call the guy who runs the show here.
Yeah.
Keep the lights on.
Keep the lights on. We got a little homework to do. Two and 0 to Morales. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Seven 5 Blue Jays.
That's the magic number for the Jays this year when they score at least 5 runs.
Two and 2 now. The Twins, they have allowed at least 8 runs in 7 of their last 10 games. They've been outscored during that stretch 83 to 39. Morales called out on that breaking ball. Paul Mahler's out of the Twins dugout. And Presley, an inning and 2/3. He's thrown a lot of pitches in this inning. Presley has thrown 33 pitches in an inning and 2/3, and the defense created some problems for him. On the right, it is a 2-run lead as the Blue Jays have scored the 7th run here in the 9th inning. Taking advantage of a couple of errors. John Curtis just called up from AAA earlier today. He made his major league debut against the Blue Jays last year in a perfect inning of work.
There are his numbers in 5 games down in Rochester, their AAA team. He was the only Rochester reliever currently on their 40-man roster. So they're able to bring him up when they sent Matt Duffy down yesterday. Tyler Duffy was sent back down. He's got a big arm, 98-mile-an-hour fastball. He's only had 2 walks down in AAA this year.
First pitch breaking ball inside to Lourdes Gurriel. Gurriel is 2 for 4. But that breaking ball inside looks like that's by design.
Yep. He's got a pretty decent slider and a fastball to change up. He's a power on. Good command.
There's a fastball.
That one at
95.
95. 17 strikeouts in 9 1/3 innings, all relief down in AAA. Told you their bullpen has been getting hammered lately, and they've needed some arms to help out. They made a roster move today to bring him up here.
He has been a closer in the past in the minor leagues. 26 of 28 save opportunities. Last year between AA and AAA, he was 19 of 20.
Looks like the wind is starting to pick up down on the field. Maybe some dust got into the eyes of Gurriel.
Way outside. Full count now. So the runners will be off on the pitch. Solarte from second, Pilar from first. 3-2 count, 2 outs. We're in the top of the ninth. The run in for the Blue Jays. Minerva Solarte with an RBI single. Diaz would be next if Gurriel can keep the inning alive. There are opportunities available in that Twins pen right now. So if you're John Curtis, you get up here and have a couple of good outings. Chances are you'll get plenty of work.
They're carrying 8 relievers too. They have just been getting hit hard. You mentioned their ERA over 6.
Fly ball. Left field. Rosario gets there and catches this one. So Curtis gets out of the ninth. The Blue Jays score a run on 1 hit, a couple of errors, and we'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Blue Jays have a 7-5 lead. Roberto Osuna making his way into the game. Into the ball game, trying to protect this 2-run lead, and he has done a good job for the Blue Jays. He's off to a great start this season. The American League save leaders, Edwin Diaz, has a big lead over Craig Kimbrough. Osuna and 3 others tied with 6.
Yeah, 11 saves already for Diaz. Only 7 opportunities to save this year for Osuna. He will obviously get a save opportunity here, and he's done great against Minnesota in his career. He's held them to a 194 batting average. He's 5 for 5 in save opportunities against Minnesota in his career. An ERA sub 2.
So he's got a good test here in the ninth. Joe Mauer, Eddie Rosario, and Eduardo Escobar. 2, 3, and 4 in the Twins lineup. Mauer is 1 for 3 with a walk. Mauer had a leadoff single in the 7th on a tough pitch from Aaron Luke. Singled into left field. Popped him up, playable. Solarte into foul territory. Run away.
That was a great use of the cutter, I think, against a great hitter like Joe Mauer. A couple of fastballs away, you get him starting to look out over the plate, and then you cut the fastball inside, and he just isn't quick enough to get to it. Good use of the cutter right there. There are the numbers I was talking about with Osuna, a perfect 5 for 5 in saves in his career.
Line drive, base hit for Rosario. Went out single. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Mark Osman. Thank you very much, Ivanka. That's all coming up right after this ball game, so make sure you stay tuned for all of that. Eduardo Escobar. Escobar hit a long home run to center field in the 5th inning, a 2-run homer. Pretty good looking pitch. Three defenders playing in the shift on the right side of the infield. Solarte stays home over 3rd.
A ground ball to the right side. That's an interesting double play.
Little pop up, and that's going to be Solarte who makes the play. Osuna really got deep in the kitchen of Escobar to get the pop up, second out of the inning.
Again, a great use of that cutter right in on his hands. Osuna looked like he had a shot to make that play, but then pulled back and let Solarte handle it.
The Twins down to their final out. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Max Kepler with Rosario at first.
That run over at first base doesn't mean anything. They should play behind Rosario now with a 2-run lead. That run doesn't mean anything. It's the guy at the plate. The last thing you want him to hook a ball by the first baseman.
Ball gets away from Martin, but not far enough for Rosario to advance. And Kepler pulled the ball down in the right field corner. His last time up, he's 2 for 4 with a triple. Batting .291 now. Raised his average 11 points with the 2 hits. There's that ball pulled into the corner. Rosario's around second. He's going to be stopped at third, and Max Kepler a 3-hit night with a pair of doubles.
He loves that ball down and in. He can get to anybody's fastball down and in. The last time it was a 3-2 count. Remember, Joe Mauer was running on the pitch so he could score on a double off the wall. This time the runner holds cutter down and in, and he pulls it into the corner. Rosario, he's not going to score because this ball was hit hard and then rebounded nicely by Hernandez, and he gets it in very quickly to hold that runner at third base, but the tying runs are in scoring position now.
Kepler has a triple and 2 doubles on the night, and he represents the tying run at second. Fastball down and in for ball 1. Popped up. That's going to be over the dugout and out of play.
Anything on the ground, if you're an infielder right here, you got to keep it in the infield. You might not be able to make the play, but if there's something on the ground, you can see why the infielders are so deep. They got to knock it down and keep it in the infield.
Pilar calls for it. This should be the ball game, and it is. Minnesota threatened in the bottom of the 9th, but Osuna gets out of it. They strand a pair of base runners, and the Blue Jays win game 1 of this 3-game series, 7-5.
What a grinding game tonight for the Blue Jays. They got up 6-1, and they held on as the scrappy Twins come back. They get that big run late in the game to make Osuna's job a little bit easier, but this was a grind, and the Blue Jays needed this one.
2 in a row for the Blue Jays, and they'll look to make it 3 in a row tomorrow night. We're back here in Minneapolis against the Twins. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a great night. Stay tuned. Here's Sportsnet Central with Ken and Ivanka.